Welcome to the third episode of Changepreneurs. We've already done with the first two episodes introducing our wonderful coaches who are part of hosting this podcast on Changemakers in different areas of life. Today we have with us Inayat, Sehgal, Shrish, Raj and Vanitha. Welcome to all three of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So how are you feeling being here?
I'm a little nervous.
My first time on a podcast, it's like
Yeah. So if I laugh a lot, please excuse me. I do that when I'm nervous.
Vanitha, what about you?
I think I'm more curious and excited. I mean, this is also the first time in podcast for me too, but something
Okay.
is evoking that curiosity, and I'm all curious.
I'm
spoken like a
as
true
curious.
coach. Yeah,
Yeah,
spoken like
yeah.
a true coach. I'm curious.
Yes. And I'm very curious about you guys as much as probably our listeners. So I know that you guys are multi-talented and in your professional lives probably doing a lot. But since we're all coaches here, I wanted to start with what inspired you to become a coach. Vanitha, we can go with you first.
Yeah, yeah. So I think somewhere, I was a HR earlier, and then balancing home and work, it was all going fine. I think for me, something that just awoke or just kind of pushed me towards this journey was one day I still remember, everything was happening in an automatic way, and I had to buy something. I went to the shop. It was a disposable carton that I had to just got it, just came back home. When I reached home, I couldn't find it in my hand, and I couldn't recollect where I left it. All I remember was just going to the shop, walking to that place, and I couldn't remember anything afterwards. And that I thought was the most. It was something very new for me. And then slowly I did notice, sometimes I would be so busy, super busy with so many things that I was working on autopilot. And that was something that I suddenly realized, and it gave me a kind of shock, kind of say. And somewhere that kind of led me to look deeper into myself as to why am I doing this? What is happening? Where am I heading? And all these questions arose from that small moment where I completely still till date cannot recollect what route I took to come back or anything like that. And that was the small spark that ignited me on this.
Wow, that's a very defining moment, I guess.
Yes, it was. It was scary, but then it was also eye-opening kind of a moment. And yeah, one thing led to another.
Inayat, what about you?
So basically, I come from a very different background. I did textile designing from Bhopal. I was there. After that, I was working in the industry for 5.5 years. Then I got married and shifted to Calcutta. So then COVID happened, I was not working at the time, but then I wanted to do something in designing. So I started with two businesses, but nothing worked out. So that was a little setback. Then I was like, okay, fine. I want to do something with my time. And I thought that I wanted to study something, and psychology has always been on my list. So I was looking for courses, and I honestly happened to accidentally find this course on life coaching. And I was like, what is this? So it was not something that I was actively looking for or I got introduced. It was by accident that I got introduced to life coaching. And there was a course available, and I was like, okay, let me just see how it goes. So when I started it, I loved it. I thought that this was something that, God was giving me a direction that you need to head this way, because it was so fulfilling when I started to do life coaching. And, when you start to coach people and you start seeing a little bit of difference in them, and it is very fulfilling in terms of that it helps you explore yourself as well. So it's such a giving profession. So I think for me it was just by luck and by accident. I think God was trying to give me a direction which I was looking for.
Suresh?
So yeah, mine is a little longish story, but again, it's by accident. My first brush with coaching, as we knew what coaching was first when I did my diploma in fitness and nutrition. That was when I started mentoring people with fitness issues and nutrition issues. The kind of feeling and satisfaction you had. I've lost 2 kgs. I've maintained my weight or whatever. And then there were other people who were very happy about it. But somehow there were a lot of things which prevented me from taking it forward, making it a full-fledged business. And I was feeling very stagnated with my own business, but I wanted to do something more. And I happened to come across an astrologer who's become a very good friend of mine now, Vijay. He's in Jaipur. So he said that, what are you doing? You're not meant to be a businessman. Meant to be an educator. You should be teaching people. You should go in the field of education. And that's where I was looking at getting. Now, I didn't want to start teaching at the age of 55. So I was looking at various franchises, for those IIT entrance exams, maybe some IES entrance exams and all. And I stumbled across this something called as life coaching. That was September 2023. I remember that. And I started reading about it, fascinated me. And I thought, let's try this. Let's try this. So I got into it. Then I had a word with my wife. It was a pretty costly course when you don't know what's going to happen after you do the course and everything. So she, in fact, inspired me that don't take ROI as what you're going to get out of it monetary wise. Take ROI as what are you going to achieve knowledge wise, how it's going to help you. And that's when I got into it. My wife's friend, Shri Rupa, she's a senior coach, quite senior now in the field. And I took advice from her. She helped me choose the school also. And I entered it knowing fully well it's a crowded space at the moment. There are a lot of coaches coming up, and a lot of awareness is needed to promote this profession. But the thought was, ठीक है, करके let's do it, करके देखते हैं, जो होगा देखा जाएगा. Sorts. What really helped me was that after I finished this course, I went back to the astrologer. I've done this course. They said, I wanted you to be a maths or a physics teacher. You become a coach now. What is this coaching? And then explained what coaching is. And I could sell it well to him because he got so intrigued and he had a live coaching session with me and he paid me for it. He not only did that, he started sending his clients who, even after getting the astrological predictions, were on crossroads. And there I came across a lot of interesting people with a lot of interesting issues, and the high that would come after finishing the session, the smile on their face or whatever, the relief on their face. And it got me thinking, yeah, this is for me. And that's how I'm in this particular profession. It started as self-transformation, which it has given me. Eventually, the benefit which people got out of this really got me hooked onto it.
And I think that is usually the crux for us as coaches, right? The high we get, you mentioned, when we coach others. But there is also that element that Inayat and Shrish, both of you brought up, is that it does something for us. I think, Vanitha, even you mentioned the same, that it does something to us. How did coaching, or what did coaching bring to you on your individual journey?
Can I
Any
go
of
first?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, please.
I think for me, coaching was like a mirror for me because I think I was also going through a phase in my life that I did not have a goal, and I think I was a little lost in what I wanted to do because, of course, definitely I love designing, I love styling, I love fashion, I have that side to me. But there was always, it was not like 100% or like, there was something that was a little hesitant about. And, you see yourself change after, marriage is a big thing. I changed cities and it's a big change. So, I saw myself change, sometimes not in a good way. And there are certain things that evolved in me as well. So I think for me, it acted as a very good mirror because you don't reflect on yourself as much on your own as you do when you're in a session. So that gives you such clarity of thought that what is really going on in my mind, So it is very therapeutic as well because you're untangling all the tangles in your mind that this is why you're behaving in a certain way, or this is why you're feeling a little lost, or this is why I'm not able to set a goal, or I'm going in circles, and I'm not able to get a clear picture. I'm not able to set a clear path for myself. So that itself kind of gives you a perspective on where you are in your life. So I think for me, individually, it acted as a mirror because I could see where I was heading towards and where I want to be. So there are different things because if your actions are not matching your goals, you will not go there. So you have to identify that what is the path that you're taking and what is your goal really. So for me, my goal was this, but I was taking this direction. Sometimes I do detour. I'm still learning. But now the thing is that I have and I am in this profession, I can identify that when I'm detouring. You understand that. So for me, I think
Yeah.
coaching has made a big difference in my life.
Shrish, you want to go next?
I can go. So I'm here because of coaching, because I was coached. I went through the whole process from a person who's been very shy, not wanting to be in the limelight, or not sitting at the on the last bench, not taking up the opportunity of even performing on the stage in the school, running away from it, to now coming. And now this podcast is going to be viral and online. So that's come because of this transformation, is because of coaching. What else it has changed in me is brought a lot of, what do you say, maturity when I'm interacting with people, that I would say. And the biggest takeaway from the coaching is that for that 1 hour when we are coaching a person, we forget about me, myself, I, and we are partnering somebody, helping that somebody move forward. And that, I think, I'm not a person who's into meditation and all that. I've tried, I could never, but I think that 1 hour is equivalent to the meditation that you do, because you are totally focused on what the other person is saying, what the body language is, what all changes are coming up. You have to observe that and you forget everything. So I was going through a health concern for the last 3-4 years, and had it been earlier, had not been coaching, not in the coaching space, I probably would have been in a very bad mental state. But because I was coaching, getting coached and coaching both, I think my mental equilibrium was very well maintained. I was not that tense with the kind of situation it was going into. And I think that it has really helped me move, become a better person, more evolved person, and more outgoing. And how much it has changed me? I was an average student in class, and I would say that I'm not that intelligent. This boy is more intelligent. And now I say that I'm so blessed. God has given me so many talents. It's given me so much that I can pick and choose. So that's the difference that coaching has brought in me as a person.
Fantastic,
Wonderful.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to both Inayat and Sirish. So for me, I think one of the first things that came up was, what is it that I'm doing? So as a HR, I was definitely was contributing to the organization, but then I started on a deeper level. I started asking the question as to how am I contributing to someone's welfare, to an individual. That is what kept coming up. I think that was the question that started. And I've always been into meditation and mindfulness, all these practices. And one thing that I noticed is through coaching, there were I transformed myself, and not by giving answers. Like being a parent, it's so easy for me to just give the answers to my children, and for anything that is being asked, the answers are given, or I'll say I'll find out. But as a coach, all that I need to do is maintain my presence, and that was transformative even for me. So I understood that people, where there are issues, they have their solutions. If someone comes and says, I need to lose 10 kgs, I'm going to be just there with them and tell them that, yes, I'll be with you through this journey. You decide whether you want to lose this 10 kgs over the next 1 year or the 10 months, or you're looking at just getting into losing 10 kgs for some upcoming event. Whatever you choose, I'm going to partner with you and just stay with you. And it's not me, the friend or the consultant or someone else who's just going to dole out all these suggestions and advices and anything. I'm just going to partner with them. And that was so satisfactory and transformative personally. So that is what I think is the power of coaching, and I love it.
Yeah. For me too, the experience to come to coaching, the journey has been very interesting. I've changed multiple professions and then reached to this place where I am right now. And it's been so powerfully self transformative. The acceleration with which the transformation happens in this journey, that for me is something I really like to keep my mind on always. Even when I talk to
Mhm.
my clients, I think that is something I would like them to know, what a coach or a coaching experience can bring to them. Because for me, I know I was always moving forward probably, but the speed at which I went once I joined the coaching journey, That is something very, very powerful, I find. And I see that common thread in all of us. Like, we have done multiple things and then reached here and known this beautiful experience of getting coached, transforming ourselves. I thought that this is a good place to ask you guys, since our podcast is on change and change makers. What does being a change maker mean to you?
Who wants to go first?
I volunteer, Sirish.
Yeah,
You
I
go
can go
ahead.
first.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I don't know what exactly you're wanting to know, but what it means is for me is when it's in the coaching space is providing that space when a person can speak, say, or be whatever they want to be. I think that is the biggest change maker this space provides. If we look at our own situation in life, whether we are thinking loud, whether we are sharing our thoughts, whether it's with our life partner, with our family, with our friends, there are two things that are going to happen. Either we are going to be judged at that particular moment, or maybe a couple of days later, or maybe a month later. You said that a month back, or we are being advised. And at times when you don't want that, you just want a space where you are yourself. You can say whatever you want. It's like somebody is listening to you and not trying to judge you, not trying to uh, give advice. And I think that is what change I believe this brings in. And this is what the kind of change I want to provide always. I'm not worried about what powerful questions as the masters put or I'm going to ask. I'm more worried about whether I'm providing that particular space to a person who's come to me for the session.
Hmm.
And that's the change I'm looking at, to providing
And
that change.
I think many a times that space is something that you don't find everywhere.
Anyway, I think adding to that, because we are in such a society that you're always at the fear of being judged by
Mm.
anybody. So you're so careful and about. I think that's what all the filter is all about. We also try and navigate, and I think that's how even lying has come into existence is also because you don't know what the other person's going to think of, and we are societal beings. We want to be in a society. So having that platform is such a I think it's a privilege also, that I think coaches also give to their coaches that that you can be yourself. Even if you have the most villainous of thoughts or anything, you won't be judged. You have that space just to be yourself and think it through that why is it happening? What is it happening? What is the change that you need? It's very, very important, I think. So I think being non-judgmental and providing that platform is actually the change that the world needs to see or not world needs to experience, because I think we all live with that barrier in our minds that okay, what will people think or what are the others think? It's only so freeing when you just get over that thought and be what you want to be. And once you experience that liberation, then I think things change. But before that, and I think a lot of people don't experience that.
Hmm.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, change is, I don't know why this phrase stuck with me for a long time. It says change is the only constant in life or the only truth in life.
Yeah, yeah.
So it used to come up so many times when I was doing my coaching. I mean, earlier when I just started, and to me, it just says, we're all afraid of the change. But then it's the truth. What we were yesterday, we're not today. Maybe we change. So embracing that change, that is what I feel is the greatest uh, I think contribution that coaches can give, in a space where uh, we just let people reflect and then accept that yes, this is happening whether I choose or I don't, and I have the choice. I go with it or I fight against it, whatever it is, but I do have the choice. But the change is
Hmm.
inevitable. So that kind of a, let me say the truth about that. It often comes up through a coaching session when people suddenly feel like, oh my God, you know what? I don't know what is happening the next minute. So I kind of let them savor that minute and then slowly, maybe through mindfulness and other practices, slowly. It doesn't happen overnight, but accept. So so that is what this entire podcast to me was also my way of kind of contributing to the changes that are happening around.
So, like you said, change is inevitable, and in each and every individual's life. It is a part of us, though most people, like you said, resist it. And we want the world around us to change, but changing ourselves, that is always the difficult part. um,
I want to
okay.
add something to that.
Sure.
I think because we don't realize, but humans are a creature of habit, and we create a comfortable space for ourselves, and we are so comfortable in it, and we don't want to move out. And when we see the change happening, it makes us nervous because we don't know what's going to happen, and is it going to affect us positively, negatively? We are not ready for that because we are a creature of habit. Any big changes in our life, we're always having cold feet. Am I taking the right decision? Am I doing the right thing? So I think that fear kind of holds us back to
Mhm.
accept the change. But I think if we change that perception of entering a new journey or a new phase, instead of having fear through curiosity and just taking each phase as its own, it will be much easier to go through that transition.
Very well said.
That's my
Yeah.
take on it. Yeah,
Yeah, the fear of
Yeah.
the unknown, probably, right? Like,
exactly.
we're
Exactly.
not familiar with what is coming our way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
on that note, if I had to ask a lighter question, what do you think, not just in our coaching profession, right? Change is something that is there in every profession, every phase of our lives, even for children for that matter. What do you think could be a superpower that you associate with, somebody who wants to change? What do they need?
I think foresight.
I think acceptance. Yeah. To me, acceptance is all that is needed.
I think I would like to be a psychic to know what's going to happen in the future so that then based on that, I can take my decision. If I take this, it's going to be successful. If I take that, oh, not so successful, let me do this. I would love to be a psychic.
I think I'll go with Vanitha, the strength to accept what is happening. I think that is the power I would like to have. That is something that really troubles you, not accept what is happening at that particular moment. You get so disturbed. So if I
Guys,
get
I'm
that
being
Yeah.
power,
psychic. It's crazy.
and we have to stay away from you because then you'll be knowing
Yes,
what is
yes.
happening.
Don't read my thoughts.
Hints. I'll text you guys and drop hints. This is going to happen. It might happen.
Now that we speak so much about change, I'm just curious to share something, very small incident, long time back. My mother, I may say, spiritual person, religious, however you term, and she would so many times pray and all that. And I still remember, maybe I was in my college, and I remember asking her, "What are you praying for? Some wealth, something?" She'd say, "No, not like that." And very innocently, she would be she's a honest enough person. I mean, with me, she's honest enough. So she said, I just pray that whatever comes, be sun or be it a sunny day or a rainy day, I just have confidence in the superpower, I mean, in God, that, you know, this too shall pass. And she said, I, be it any difficult times, I just pray that I have that confidence and that faith in God that this too shall go away. And that was so nice. I said, you didn't ask that, you didn't want to be going through rainy days or bad days. She said, no, I just wanted that faith to go through these difficult times and also show that gratitude that I'm so grateful that the rainy days are gone and the sunny days are up. So something on those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And it was reflecting today. I think it's so beautiful.
Indeed.
Yes, and I read this somewhere that if you look at the machine, when your heart's being checked, the machine goes, the lines on the machine go up and down, and the moment it is straight means your life is not there. So life
Mm,
means going up and down, I guess, and
That's
exactly.
true.
it's so
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah.
to accept, embrace, and probably, like Inayat said, probably become a psychic and predict the future.
Roshni, we did not talk about your superpower. What is your superpower going to be?
I think just believing in what I think is going to come,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there are so many voices around us. My superpower would be, if I want change, I think would be to kind of mute the voices around me,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just listen or rather increase the volume of my inner voice.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
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 We often do not listen to that, what's right. Like, I think this has happened to me a bunch of times because there are times that I do get an intuition that what the situation is going to be like. But because, intuition comes also with a lot of awareness, self-awareness, but you kind of switch it off or turn it off with your logical thoughts because I think, oh, this is not possible. This is not going to work out. And this is something I'm also working on and honestly trying to kind of increase the volume, as you said, of your inner voice to kind of guide you and take you
Mm,
wherever you are needed to be, because I'm a big believer of destiny, as Vanitha said, like how her mom prays that be it whatever, give me the strength and let my faith be in God to take me through those things because
Yeah.
I think having faith and hope are the two most powerful things that
Mm.
one needs to get through any kind of situations.
beautifully said.
So, yeah, so I think it is very, very important to have that and listen, as you said, to turn off your inner voice. But yeah, coaching does that to you because a lot of self-awareness lessens the noise around you. And you get to hear the right thoughts, the right voices, which needs to be heard by you in order to even grow as an individual. So that's very, very important, I think. Yeah.
Hey, Inayat, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you, when you were just talking about intuition and all that, and I was just thinking, was there any time that you really remember when your inner voice said, "This is," if you can recall any incident and share with us?
See, it is very flickering and it comes with most random things because sometimes, okay, I have for example, I'm going and I thought that I'm meeting somebody and I just get an intuition that, oh, this person might not come today, might not know, will not come today. But I will just like, she texted me, we are meeting, we had thought about it, and I'll get a text suddenly that, listen, something has come up and we'll have to postpone our catch up and everything. So it can be as small as that. And there was a time when I was in college, and my father was not going through a good time in his business. And I was worried sick for him for some reason. And I just tried to call up my mother, and my mom wouldn't make me speak to him because he was occupied and he was all tied up with things. And I was like, you need to tell me. I know something's wrong, is going wrong, and I want to listen. But she delayed it till the time things did not settle down. She did not tell me. So I had an intuition that okay, things are not going right with him. So it's always, but lately what happens, what I observe that in the middle, it had died down because I was distracted with a lot of other things which were not very important in my life at that time. Slowly, when I've started to get back to coaching and I've started to be a little bit more self-aware, started having faith in my life, hope in my life, I think what I'm realizing, your thoughts kind of narrow down, it streamlines, and your intuition starts getting stronger.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah,
I
very true.
think that's what I'm realizing. Like right now, I went. I think I've mentioned that to you guys before that I went on a trip. I had a little bit of a strenuous trip in terms of because I was doing it. So I feel a little detached from my current self. So I'm trying to get back slowly because it is such a constant thing. So if you slip up a little bit, you know, your intuition also goes away. So that's what I'm realizing. You have to be very constant with your clarity and self-reflection. Even if you're slipping up with the self-reflection for a few days, all the work that you have done, it keeps now the reverse cycle starts. Then you have to again spin the wheel in the right direction for you to get back to where you were and then grow. So I think one has to be constant. This is my realization in past few days that I was not being constant and I am seeing the repercussions of it in my personal life as
I can relate. I think when the chatter in the head kind of
well.
quietens, then the intuition is actually very strong, and I've noticed it quite a lot. So I think others
Hmm.
can also relate to that.
What do you guys think?
I actually feel that yes, when there are those outside noises or you're distracted in a way, it does kind of stop for a bit. I don't think I
Hmm.
have to, or we have to kind of rebuild it. Because I think once you are aware, you can't undo it. It's just
Yeah,
that
you're right. Yeah.
there is some kind of a itch inside you that no, this is not where I want to be. You might be doing things you're not completely agreeing with, but there is that voice inside you saying that, even for you, Inayat, that when you are coming back and saying, I have to now, start back, that is what you want because you're already aware that is what gives you
Yeah,
that
yeah.
peace and space you want to be in.
That's true. That's true. I think probably maybe yeah, you're right in a way because now that you're saying this, it makes me think I wouldn't have thought about it before, you know.
Mm.
But
Mm.
now I do have this thoughts because I have gone through that experience. That growth has already been made.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, like now I know where I need to be in order to be peaceful or like, in centered. How I can put it like to be more centered. So I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I agree with it.
Yes, Shrish, what do
Shirish?
you think?
Yeah.
So what I think is that men are, as it is, not known to be very intuitive. So I don't have much experiences on that count. It's always the women who have all the intuitions.
It is said in one of the mythology books that I was reading that men would rely on the women on their intuition to make the difficult decision even in politics and everyday lives. So women are known to have good intuition. It's been going on through history and years, and it's in our Vedas and all that. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think I would go with that. For the lack of intuitive powers I have, I would like to go with that.
I think it's also if I may say that, it's also kind of social conditioning when you repeat it again and again that women are
It
more
becomes a belief.
intuitive. Yes. Then you think, okay, let me not fall onto my, probably, I think married men would immediately say, oh, anyways, whatever I say is going to be the wrong thing. So let me just rely on what my wife is saying.
So it's not only married men. I remember as children when we used to be playing, and my mother would say, "Mujhe, I can see that you guys are going to fail in the exam." So she had that intuition.
Yeah,
Luckily,
all
it never
mothers say
came
that.
out
All
right.
mothers.
Correct,
It starts from there.
But that's all
correct.
Women have all
mothers.
the
All
intuition.
mothers say when they see their
Exactly.
kids playing, you're gonna fail in your exam. I think it's such a mama thing to say.
Since we were talking about childhood, let me ask you guys, if there's one thing now that there is so much change that has happened to you individually, what would you tell your younger self? If there's one thing you could tell your younger self, what would that thing be?
I would tell my younger self a lot of things. I don't know where to begin from.
If you had to just say, pick from that and say, this is the most important thing I wish my younger self knew.
I think I would tell my younger self to believe in herself. I think I was a very insecure child because I came from a small town and there was a lot of judgment around me. And I think that really affects a child because they are growing, they're not confident, they're gaining their confidence, and the society tends to have an influence on them. And the certain statements that are passed around about them affects them mentally. So I think if I have to go back and advise my teenage self, I would say that it doesn't matter. You are the one living your life. Your choices are going to define your life, not their comments or their judgments about you. If you're going to work hard, you're going to achieve what you want to achieve. If you're not going to work hard, things are not going to fall the way it is for you. And just be yourself 100% without caring about what people are thinking about you.
I think I must say, I was one of those really outspoken kind of a person, and I somewhere bordering judgmental is what it was. I could just see colors of black and white. Either you were good or bad, and nothing beyond. And maybe now, when someone says something, I do listen and then take it deeply, and then I don't immediately. I take time and then I respond. So now I feel maybe I could have been less judgmental, maybe not so loud and always just ready with an answer. Sometimes I could have just said, maybe you're right, and I don't know. That is something that keeps coming up. Maybe I could have been a little bit more softer or something like that.
Shirish, are you thinking?
Yeah, so yeah, this has been such a long journey. 55 years of it, and a lot of things I can tell my younger self, but Most important thing that I think I should be telling my younger self is take your chance. Believe in yourself, take your chance. I think I missed out a lot because I didn't take the chance. That was, I think, that was I was just thinking about what could be the most important thing. That is, take your chance and remind myself
Beautiful.
now to take my chance till whatever time
Mm.
is left. What about you, Roshni?
I think, of course, as you grow up, there's so many experiences that bring you to the place where you are now. And that would again change, let's say, in another 5 or 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that, like Vanita was saying before, the fact that, this too shall pass. I think I would have loved to say that to my younger self, that anything I'm thinking about, the best time, the best person I've met, or the worst day, the days when I've probably cried my heart out, just to tell myself that all this is gonna go. This is, I can't hold on to it. I would have loved to say that, because, the change, I think all that kind of lets you resist the change also, right? When you are stuck in that pattern of going through things in a way that you can control everything, but you're
Yeah.
not able to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that one sentence, when Vanita spoke about it, it just stayed with me, because that sentence has, for me personally, also meant a lot. So I think that is a message I would have loved to give my younger self.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have taken care of a lot of disappointments also that
Yeah.
come with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
changes in life.
Yes.
That's true.
So I know that you guys all love traveling. Has it ever happened that any travel or any person, a stranger, has ever changed your perception about how you look at the world?
Hey, I must go first. I just wrote this post on LinkedIn this morning. I just went on a little more than a month tour of vacation in Riyadh and even across Saudi Arabia. And I've, by God's grace, I must say there's been a lot of travel in my life. This one actually changed my perception, the people, the culture. I have my own set of, I think, preconceived ideas and stereotypes and all that. And just being there and interacting with people and the culture and traveling across the country, that that really did change my perception. And I just wrote about it because I felt it was the right thing to do. I had interactions with people, and the common thread that I found across everyone was that,
Mm-hmm.
we all go through the same miseries, we all go through the same triumph, we all go through joy, we go through so many of the emotions, and it's almost like, you're mirroring the same things in your life, but then just that in a different quantity and in a different way. That's the only thing, but otherwise it's all, these emotions are like the ones that are connecting all of us. And it was such a revelation. And also, like I said, I'm quite outspoken, and and so I had to rein in some of my qualities and then adopt some amount of sensitivity. So that was something that I appreciated. I come back and then I appreciate. I look at my own self. Like this morning, I was just thinking that yes, it feels nice that there was some sensitivity from I did incorporate it, and that feels good. So yes, I must say this recent travel was a great one for me.
Yeah, traveling does bring so much of rich experiences with it. Inayat, would you like to go?
Yeah, yeah. So I was just thinking about what Vanita is saying, and it made me think about that movie, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. They're like people are the same everywhere, you know, and
Correct.
the reactions are the same everywhere because they do that. There's a small, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie. They play a prank on this person that they start screaming, the person starts screaming, and I'm like, this is so true. People are the same everywhere. They just speak the different languages. The culture is different, but people, emotions, everything is the same. So I think
Yeah.
one thing that really made a difference in my thinking, I think Travel definitely, because you get to experience all these things, and I think what Vanita has experienced, that has also been one of my primary things, that people are the same everywhere. You feel, how you see in pictures and things, that oh, this place is like that, this place is like that, people are like that. But when you go there and experience things, it's so similar. People are so similar to your own place that you're living in. People are having the same struggles, same happiness. Everything is so similar. I think it's just a perception that we create for ourselves to glorify the other places which we have not stayed or lived in. So I think, yeah, it's just we are one unit. The world is one unit. It's just that every region has its own rules and regulations, but people are the same. They're going through the same struggles, they're going through the same happinesses, same journeys, similar. That's the reason I think the world connects. Now I think world has become such a smaller place, and when you talk to somebody who's from the different part of the world, and you find so many similarities, in terms of their journeys, and or somebody you must have talked to back home, and you're like, oh, people are going through the same things, same problems, or same happiness. So just not just the problem. So that gives you that kind of perspective. So yeah, definitely that thing. Even I think about that. How world is just one unit, and we've only divided it. So yeah,
Hey, I'm just tempted to say that line called in Sanskrit, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. Vasudaiva Kutumbakam. So, Vasudha Iva Eka Kutumbakam. Something on this line. Yeah.
yeah,
Great. So what would that mean if you could just,
It means the entire world is one family. The Vasudha is the earth. So, this entire earth is one family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So, the entire world. So, I think this is what it, to me, that is what it resonated.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Inayat so beautifully
So
put it.
Vanita, similarly, we have a saying in Punjabi also, in Guru
Mm-hmm.
Granth Sahib Ji. Ik noor to sab jag upja, kaun bhale kaun mande. It says that
Bhaiya.
the world is, God has made the world, everybody has come out from one atom. How are we to decide who's good or who's bad?
Bhaiya. Very nice.
So it is in every religion. It is everywhere. It's just we are so blinded by our own, like, oh, we don't do this or we don't do that, and such judgment. I think we've lost clarity of life. It's very simple. It's actually very simple. Humans have
It
complicated it.
is.
I think I
Yes.
can say this to everybody.
Yeah, very true. It's very true. So if you were to ask me, I really can't recall any particular incident that I can quote here, that how it changed my perception. But what I really remember that I've learned a lot from small incidents that happened during the time. And the general feeling is that coming back home after travel, mentally you are re-energized. And somehow there is this slight movement forward in you as a human being. This is what I've experienced every time I've come back from a travel, whether it was a business tour or whether it was a personal trip. But if you ask me any specific incident, honestly, at this point of time, I can't recall anything that really changed my perception. But yes, this much I remember that whenever I would rejoin office or whenever I would be back, there would be a different kind of energy in me for a few days, and like that battery going off, and again, a travel is needed to re-energize it. This is what I can say about traveling. And when
Yeah, that's true.
my wife hears this
Yeah.
podcast, is going to tell me, "Don't like to travel," and now you're making all these big claims. I'm going to hear that,
Going on a holiday.
and then I'm going to hear that you only make plans and none of them come off.
So, picking from what you were saying, Vanita and Inayat, I was just, what came to my mind was, COVID-19 was such a big
Yeah, that's
change
true.
maker in
That's
itself. I
true.
know a lot of people went through really difficult times, but I think it is also a time when change became very on our face, right? Things
That's
changed
true.
drastically after that. 2020 year was a lot of unpredictability, what we were talking about before, that you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to change because there's so much unpredictability and you're not in control, but we were all made to kind of let go, just go with
Experience it, go
each
through it.
day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know how it kind of grounded all of us across nations, across religions. People were just the same, like in the same state with lockdown, or the difficulties we were all going through, or even coming together for that matter, even as families, because we were forced to just be with the family all the time with whomever we were staying.
Yeah.
What comes to you when you are thinking of that kind of a change? I know it's a very on your face kind of a change, but what comes to you when you're thinking about it now?
I think for me it was something as you rightfully said, Roshni, that it was on your face kind of a change, and it was something that you had to go through.
Hmm.
It was not in your control. You're out of control completely, and you just had to, that really changed me in terms of that. I realized one thing. I really shut myself down from the outside world because there was so much of negative information floating around that I refused to accept that something like that was happening, globally, because it was affecting my state of mind so much. And that was something that none of us had experienced. We'd only heard about it in the history that this pandemic, epidemic had happened and XYZ. So for you, that going through that kind of history, like COVID this has become history, it's gonna go in books. Going through that kind of an experience, living I think it was mentally very, very straining for me at least. Like I think for me it really I really shut myself out. Like, I think that was the time that I refused to read news at all. And it became such a habit that I still till today I don't read or see news channels because it had affected me to that deeper level that I refused to listen to that how many people were dying and there's no oxygen supply and there are no beds, and it was just pure havoc around the globe. And we were touchwood like comfortable in our homes and we had free food on our plates, and we were not in that situation. People were losing jobs, people even were becoming like kids were becoming orphans. So those kind of things when you hear, like, it was daunting really. Like I think for me it really shook me up.
Hmm. Yeah, I think rather, the minute you talk about COVID, one thing that comes up to my mind is after the first 6 months, I didn't know how long it was going to go, but then
Hmm.
I think there was a renewed sense of gratitude that I started developing, I must say, or something like that, and it became stronger. Now, when I look back, I know that after the first 6 months, I started feeling gratitude for everything, even if there was food cooked. I mean, very simple food at home, but still there was that, oh, there's so many who don't have this. And I started that my practice became more concrete. That is something that is coming up. Of course, there's so many other things. And one more thing that came up was I started discovering the number of courses that were there online, and I discovered, a lot of things that were there for me to learn. So those are the two things which are coming up for me when I think of COVID. Apart from all the, those 2 years that so many things happened and all that. But now when I want to think of it, these are the two things that are coming up. One is the learnings online. There were so many coaches who were contributing, and I benefited from that. And the second thing was it strengthened my practice of gratitude, and there's absolutely, I just cannot discount it in any way. So those are the two things that are coming up for me. Sirish?
Yes, so yeah, there are lot of everybody I think has pleasant and unpleasant memories about COVID, and we sort of saw what exactly people were going through. We stay very near to a cremation ground, and the I wouldn't like to remember that time again. There were, I think, I would remember it very fondly. Now, I should not be saying this. This is a very controversial thing to say, but I'll let me say a silver lining. There were three things. One, our daughter, who was in hostel since grade fifth, got to spend months together with us. Her ninth, her 10th, they were all online, and she was here for a good 5 months, 6 months. That was a good bonding experience with her again. She had gone to the hostel when she was in grade fifth. My wife took to baking majorly, and we used to get those beautiful cheesecakes, cookies, and that is also something which, with the positive that came out of COVID, and she's become a much better cook now. Generally, a better cook, and we used to cook. In fact, she started her home baking business also after COVID. She became so good, and we designed everything. And third thing, very importantly, was that gave me that space where I really worked myself on the physical part of my physique. Physically, I could I was very active, did quite a bit of workout, and that was a big transformation I came through. So, three positives for me from COVID. With all the negativity, let's remember the
Mm,
positives
mm.
from here.
Yeah, but I agree with Sri because this was the time that I think I'd just gotten married and it was those early few months and then I got to spend time with family. So that was definitely like a good bonding experience once I kind of switched off all the news channels and news alerts. But yeah, that was definitely a good experience.
So, where were you
What
when
would
the
be
COVID was there, Roshni?
Me, so I have a quite a long story which I wouldn't narrate in detail now, but it is the year. So my daughter, I have two children. My son is the older one; he's 11 now, and my daughter, she's 6 now. But that is the year we adopted our daughter. So we had come to India for the adoption to meet her, and me and my son were there, and we were living in the house where I grew up, which my parents have actually given for rent now. But because it was on rent and because we were coming, he hadn't given it on rent, but it didn't have any furniture. So it was temporarily, kind of like for 2 3 months we are gonna live there. It had absolutely nothing other than a stove, a washing machine, and a refrigerator. No beds, nothing, nothing, not a chair, not a table, nothing, absolutely. Because my husband was not there, like he was coming in and out, we had just taken a Wi Fi connection. So we were with very basic things. Thankfully, before the lockdown and all started, I had borrowed a mattress in the house. So we had a big mattress in the house, but that was it. And a day before the lockdown, my husband arrived. So we four, and my daughter had come in on foster care agreement, but the court proceedings hadn't finished. So we were stuck. We were stuck, the four of us, and it was such a beautiful time for us to bond as a family. My
I can
daughter was
relate.
18
Yeah.
months old at that point. So, though it was a very difficult time, it was a lot of unpredictability again. That, we don't know when the court case would resolve now because courts had closed, and we don't know when we get to come back. Will it affect our jobs? All those things were there on our mind. But as a family, I think it's the best 10 11 months we had. um it
So you guys were in that house for how long?
So me and my son, because we came in 2019 December,
Mm-hmm.
we were there since 19 December, and my husband came in March, and my daughter came home that January. So
Wow.
we were there till end of October
Yeah.
2020.
Wow. So that's
And
almost a
Fantastic.
year.
Almost a year.
yeah, nothing, absolutely nothing in the house. My son, for entertainment, he used to climb walls like Spider-Man because that's the only thing he could do. No TV, nothing. And in fact, I like to click pictures, and I would say I'm a good photographer, but I don't do it professionally, but I'm quite interested in it. But during that time, every Saturday I used to make them all dress up because we wanted to do something different and tell, okay, today we are going to do a photo shoot, and we would sit and take pictures.
That's so cute.
And I actually have an album made of that particular year with all those pictures in it. It's a very, very beautiful memory. So we made the most. I think that year taught us to, because I was always somebody who liked to plan. I had the detailed what to do next in my hand all
This
the time. That is the year I had to just let go. And I've never done that before that. And I think it taught me that year to just let go, be in that moment, be there, enjoy that particular moment. Yes, like you all said, the outside world was sometimes scary, unpredictable, didn't want to look at it, a lot of sadness. But even with that, to know that I just have to surrender here. For me, a very beautiful part of change, which is also surrender. We talked about accepting and being brave or taking risks, but also at times change is, you know, after you accept, just to surrender there and say, okay, something good is gonna come out of this too.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So true. So true.
So I think we were talking too much deep stuff. Just I would like to lighten up the moment here a bit. Since we talked so much about ourselves, I would like you to imagine if you could think of a book or a movie that your life was, what would you name it as?
That's damn tough.
Just trying to, yeah. Mm,
I don't know. I can't think of cool names right now.
yeah, me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Are we
I just
still in
can't.
the deep, profound mode?
No.
No,
Even if I think light, I don't think I would have the answer for that. I'm just trying. Maybe Sirish can come up with answer for this. Yes, Sirish.
Yes.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
I'm as it is very creatively handicapped, so I
oh,
can't think of
I've
anything.
got one. I've got one, guys. I think
Yes.
I've got one. I think uncomplicate it.
Oh my,
Wow.
very
Yeah.
nice.
So I think for me it would be that uncomplicated.
And what would the next chapter be, Inayat?
Next chapter or the sequel?
The psychic.
The psychic.
The psychic. I want to have a cool cover also for it. Nice hand gestures and everything. Yeah. Yeah, but I think okay, so when you're deciding a name for a book, first of all, you have to think about what are you going to put in that and how you're going to like name it. It's a difficult one, actually.
Yeah. I, for
It's
once, am tongue-tied.
Yeah, and Vanitha had promised me that would never happen to her.
I know. You clean bowled me.
Roshni was like challenge accepted.
So we move
Yeah.
on to the next one. Yeah.
No, I think it's also the thing of, putting your whole story into one or two words. That is also difficult, I think, right?
See, I think when I like if I think about uncomplicated, I think that is my priority. I'm not putting my life story into it, but because I'm always trying to understand things and trying to uncomplicate it, like literally for myself. So I think I look it as an achievement. So that is like where I'm always trying to head. If I have an issue in my personal life or my professional life or anything, how to sort it, what is the solution for it? Or even if I'm stuck in a thought or I'm stuck with something that someone's told me and I'm not in agreement with them, okay, why is the thought come? So I'm always trying to uncomplicate it or, that as I said,
That's the psychic talking. In the future,
uh,
I'm going to uncomplicate it.
yeah, uncomplicated. See, both the things are complementing each other. I'm in the right direction.
No, now that Inayat's given us so much of information, I'm just thinking maybe the word deep kind of comes to me. So as much as I kind of more congenial, you could call me as someone who's always little on the sunny side and tries to see most things. Maybe a glass is half full than half empty. So that is the kind of maybe I've developed it, or that is my personality, I should say. And so sometimes it so happens that I also ignore, and also others don't realize that there is a deep that and I make deep conversations, and
Like you're a
I
person with
value it.
depth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as much as I love the conversation and all that, the thing that sometimes is not seen is how deep a person I am. So that seems to be coming up for me. So this is becoming more like a coaching session, I must say.
And what
Shrish, are you
about
getting
you,
any
Roshni?
ideas? Are you feeling motivated?
No, I don't think I'm getting any on that. So what about you,
At
Roshni?
least the cookies are inspiring.
Yeah, they are
Your
inspiring
wife's
and
cookies.
fattening both.
Probably cookies, silence, and more.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe. So what about you, Roshni?
No, probably would be just being.
Just being.
I think these days that is something I keep telling myself, that um, That's all I want to do. I just want to be more and more, not run around, not hustle. Um,
We should talk more often because I'm that person.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, just being, I think. I think
Beautiful.
it also brings something very important to me, that is being myself. So, when I was younger, I was constantly considered kind of a black sheep in the family because I had very strong opinions on how my life should be. And of course, it was very inconvenient for my very docile parents. But yeah, I think I kind of would break through any chains that would be put in front of me where it stopped me from being myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just being says a lot, like even about my past, what I feel right now. And I hope I am completely in that state in the future.
Roshni, I'm curious to know something.
Sure.
So, as you described, you said that oh, you were the black sheep of the family. So, what were the changes that you have like evolved as a person from that to what you are right now? What changes that you have seen in yourself?
There are tremendous changes. I think so much that my people who know me from childhood kind of find it hard to be at the same place where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
uh, because they have that image, right? Like when you are younger, they have already formed that very strong image of who you are.
That's true, yeah.
But for me, I think the major changes, I had a lot of anger inside me towards the world, towards the rules, and how a person should be. And I did not want to be that person. So I had a lot of anger. From that, I have completely come to a place of calm, even in things that I don't accept, or the values I don't accept. I feel I'm able to see the other person, even if I completely disagree with that person.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that is the major change.
That's interesting.
I don't want to fight to change the other person. I would now only fight to be myself.
That's
Very
deep.
helpful.
Beautiful.
That's deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think acknowledging the fact that you are yourself, but let the other person also be themselves, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So it's also acknowledging that fact. And you cannot get angry about the fact that how they are because their circumstances made them like that, the way they are.
Yeah.
And their choices, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Absolutely.
of acceptance. A lot of acceptance.
And it automatically brings that peace into your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe the surroundings are still the same. What's happening around you is still the same.
I think surroundings a lot of time changes when if your perception changes towards things. Like how Vanitha also said, like this is a famous saying that the glass is half full or half empty. If your perception changes, everything changes.
Yeah.
So it's your mind that you have to first conquer in order to make world a beautiful place around you.
Yeah. Shirish, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's easier said than done.
That's true. Words are always easier. It's the
Yeah.
action that's the difficult part. Like an
Sirish,
exercise.
sorry. Sirish, if I
No,
just
no,
had to
I
ask
was
you,
just giving an expression. Sorry.
okay. Now, if I just had to ask you one question, what do you think if I just met a friend of yours and I just ask, oh, Sirish, how is he? And what do you think if you can give me some 4 lines on what they would say about you?
I like to think they'll say nice things about me, but
Yeah, describe those nice things.
so one thing that they will definitely say, I think, depends. So if I commit to something, वो सलमान खान का famous dialogue है ना.
मैं अपने आप की भी नहीं सुनता.
हाँ, correct.
But yes,
Correct.
if I commit to something, so 2 things I think: dependable and helpful. Always there if somebody needs me.
A wonderful
Yeah.
friend.
ज़्यादा तो नहीं हो गया, but
नहीं,
I think
I'll
that's where it
have
would
you
be.
as my friend. I'm so glad.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting me as a friend.
Of course. What about you, Inayat?
Thanks to you, Shirish, for committing to the podcast.
Yeah, see, and I'm here.
So, Inayat, what do you think? What do you think? Just a question I just thought I'll ask.
I'm sorry, Vanita, could you repeat that? I didn't hear you clearly.
Okay. No, I'm just asking, see if same situation. I just met one of your friends and just asked like,
Yeah.
hey, Inayat, what do you think of her? What do you think they would say? अच्छे दोस्त.
I think अच्छे दोस्त. One thing, all my friends will say that I'm a very jolly person. Like I laugh a lot. So that's one thing that everybody talks very thing about me. That I think that's one attribute that always comes out. I think secondly, yeah, like I'm an easygoing person. So I think everybody says that she's easy to chill with. Like I think
Hmm,
she's a
hmm,
relaxed
hmm,
person. She's like
hmm.
laid back and happy in her own world. These are the two main things that comes across. And rest I have to ask them, yeah, I've never asked these things before. I think I want to ask them, what do you guys think about me? If somebody meets you, so I have to answer some of the questions.
And I really hope my friends don't see this podcast in case they have different opinion about me. It would be so embarrassing. Yeah, yes,
You know, this
that too.
this reminds me of that exercise, that Johari window that we do,
Yeah,
and
Johari
like
window.
asking,
Yeah,
yeah, Johari window, yeah. Now I'm curious. I think I'm going to use it. I'm going to ask them.
what about you,
Yeah.
Roshni? What do you think?
I think even though they love me a lot, I think the first thing they will say is she's very stubborn and does whatever she says. But I think they would also say probably I'm very sensitive, emotional, can be there in tough times very easily, despite distance or lack of time or any such thing.
Very nice.
And what about you,
Sensitive.
Vanita?
I
Finally
think
got it
I
right.
have it. Yeah, you
Yes,
did.
Vanita.
So then I think I was just thinking, and then I thought the one thing that most people, at least one or two people who just met me or missed me, they say, "Hey, you know what? I missed meeting you. You kind of cheer up the entire place and the situation."
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I kind of choose very clearly that I will focus on the better things in life, at least in a gathering and all that. And it's nice that there are lots of things to be happy and grateful about. So I focus on that. And some people and many of my friends kind of like that. So I think that would be something they would say. And of course, like you, Inayat, I always laugh a lot. So that must be another thing that they say. And
Yeah.
Pakka, they would always, some of my friends, those who know me, I shouldn't be saying this, took me so much of time to transform, but they'd say late Latif. I used to be kind of always on the everyone joins and then I'm actually 10 minutes late. So that has
That's
been
me right now. I'm working on it very hard. Shrish knows this. I'm still
हाँ
not reached my goal.
नहीं this is coming में पहला वही सीखा कि टाइम तो I वो
Yeah,
बड़े
yeah.
मुश्किल से वो मेरे फ्रेंड्स अभी भी
Yeah,
बोलेंगे
yeah.
अच्छा इसको इनफैक्ट वन ऑफ माय फ्रेंड्स फेवरेट कोट इज बाकी सबको 5 बजे बोलना है इसको 4:30 देना तो शी विल रीच एट 5 o'clock. That used to be the joke.
Yeah.
But with the, bringing a lot of peppiness, I can say that in the last 1 hour that we've been talking here, you
Yeah.
definitely, Vanita, have brought a lot of cheer and peppiness into the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it is in the company of like-minded people that you bring out the best. So
Yes.
you guys
Yes.
have been terrific. I think I enjoyed the conversation and I didn't realize it was
Yeah, me
almost
too.
an hour.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was coming to, that since we have to keep the time to, I would go to one couple of final questions that I want you to think
Uh-huh.
about. So one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, how has preparing for this episode recording made you reflect on your own journey?
I've been totally unprepared. And that is the
Yeah,
truth. I just searched
and
for my headphones and that's it. Nothing. I'm sorry if there was some better answer from either of you.
I would second that. I stopped thinking about it. Otherwise, I would have been very nervous, anxious of how it would go. Just come
Yeah.
into it and be yourself. That's it.
Yeah,
I know.
same here. I think if I would have thought about it, I'll be honest, I was nervous when we started the conversation and then we gradually like flowed into it. But I think the whole idea was to be genuine. So there was no preparation needed. I think you just got to be yourself, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And so wonderfully, all of you have been yourselves. So what do you think our listeners would even in the episodes that are to come, where we're focusing on change and change makers. What do you think the listeners can look forward to in our podcast?
Authenticity.
Mm, mm,
Hmm. Beautiful. Yeah. I think they would get to see variety, along with the authenticity. People from various walks of life and bringing out their strengths,
yeah,
contributions, how they've
yeah.
been the pilots of change in the society. So that variety they can definitely expect to see.
Mm, mm,
See, for me, something whenever I think of change and what our listeners can expect is also that how powerful being non-judgmental can be, and it can really change you as an individual. And I think it's a great platform to understand this because we as coaches, we really vouch for it and encourage people. Like whenever I'm, at least for me, whenever I'm talking to anybody, I think one thing that I've learned through coaching is being a non-judgmental person in any walk of life, and it has given me so much of liberation as an individual. So I think it's a great place where you understand the importance of being a non-judgmental person and how you can really see life without any barriers in front of you. So I think it's something that we can see here.
And, just today, this 1 hour has brought in so much of that authenticity and that non-judgmental space. And thank you for
Mhm.
being yourselves and, opening up the way you did, bringing your stories here. It was really interesting. And I think also that, for our listeners, embracing change is something that will come for sure in the future episodes. Yeah. Anything before we close today's episode?
Yeah, something that energy. Yeah, I did too. So before we close, what energy always says, coaching always works.
Coaching always works. Yes, yes, yes.
Very nice.
Yeah, it does.
And
It
and
does.
before we close, I got the name also for my book.
Yes. Yes,
Please go
That's
ahead.
Shirish.
great.
Yeah. Please do
Yeah,
reveal.
so I would like to name it Count Your Blessings.
Hey, that's a nice one.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Thank you.
What made you think that? I'm curious to know.
We'll talk about it when we have a coaching session.
No.
Done.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, done, done, done. But it was a
Yeah,
lot of fun. Thank you guys. Thank
it
you for
was.
an
Thank
amazing
you.
hour and
Thank you.
amazing
Exactly.
conversation.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
guys.
And thank you being
Um,
kind to me.
we
I
Yeah.
was
are
outnumbered.
very, very kind people. Shirish, I'm sure you
I
understood
agree. I
that in the
agree. Yes,
last
I agree.